Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. I think it's quite interesting to take a look at the correlation between energy and precious metals. You know, there is a correlation there, although people don't talk about it a whole lot. This article here from the SRS Rocco report discusses this particular thing in terms of silver mining, and also gives maybe some insight on gold as well. So let's explore. There's just not that much silver investment insurance to go around, is the title of the article from an unknown author. It says, as the Fed and central banks continue propping up the financial markets, many precious metal analysts advise owning gold over silver. In fact, I myself have even said that silver stackers should diversify into gold. Myself, I'm owning more and buying more gold than I am silver, especially in terms of dollars. But I don't necessarily tell people they should own one metal over the other. But those that do say that gold is the key precious metal that will be used to reintroduce a sound monetary system. The author believes, however, that the real winner in terms of future value in percentage terms will be silver, not gold. So very interesting indeed. It all comes down to energy. The author has repeated himself many times over about energy being the driver of the economy. There's a large percentage of precious metals analysts and investors that still don't get it. Even worse than that, one website that publishes the author works removes energy content from the article while only allowing the precious metal subject matter to remain. And they are related, and I certainly do agree with that, although I wouldn't necessarily measure the price in that terms. In other words, if oil goes up, that doesn't necessarily mean that silver will go up, and vice versa. And then there is a correlation, but they're not directly tied for a myriad of different reasons. We might explore that later. He's going to say this once more. If you don't understand energy, you will not understand the real reason to own precious metals. For example, there's another video he did about the amazing untold facts about gold and silver investing. One commenter stated that after they watched the information, they wouldn't sell their silver. This is the key. If precious metal investors do not understand the energy, they may lose faith in holding the gold and silver in the sea of conflicting financial and economic information. And there is a lot of it out there. And even I would say to take this for a grain of salt. Do your own due diligence for sure. But it always is interesting to see what other types of information out there to provoke provocative discussion and be able to explore different avenues. He hears some precious metal analysts say negative things about owning silver during a recession or economic downturn. One thing, silver did very well during the very high U.S. unemployment from 2009 to 2011. That it sure did, although some of it was really kind of an abnormal spike during that time. We've discussed that in the past on this channel. When the U.S. unemployment rate was 4.5%, in March 2007, silver was trading at $15. But by early 2011, when U.S. unemployment rate was at 9%, silver reached $50, albeit for a very, very, very short amount of time did it reach that high. Secondly, the future value of price per action of silver will not act in the same way as it did in the past. I agree with that. Due to massive propping up of the stock market financial system, well, partially, it was propped up before, certainly, and there's some manipulation that has in play, but it's no more manipulated than silver is, in my view. And it says it's economy by the central banks, which is right. Every time they do print money, it does manipulate the market. I do agree with that. When the market turns down, investors don't have many choices to protect wealth this time around. Bonds won't be the safe haven as they were in the past, because bonds are nothing more than debt instruments. But I will put in that some people see cryptocurrencies as safe haven assets like Bitcoin and the like. The important silver to gold production ratio and what that means going forward is the next section here. When Spain was a leading empire during the 15 to 1700s, the world was producing a lot more silver than gold. From 1493 to 1600, the world's silver to gold production ratio was 32.5 to 1. From 1601 to 1700, the silver to gold production ratio was 44 to 1. And here we can see this chart. Fascinating. Summarized data from gold production reports published in 1930, U.S. Bureau of Mines, and the World Gold Council and the USGS. So there you go. Look at that. Pretty fascinating to see the production ratios. And look now how it's fallen to 7.6 to 1. As the centuries went by, the world's silver to gold production ratio declined. From 1901 to 2000, it fell to just 7.7 to 1. The figures in the chart above are in 1 million troy ounces. Now, if you don't believe energy is a key factor, take a look at the production level of silver and gold during 1901 to 2000. When oil came in the market, it allowed gold and silver production to increase exponentially. Good point. Technology and using the fuel to the advantage in that technology. World silver production during 1901 to 2000 increased 5.5 times compared to the prior century, and gold surged nearly 10 times. In 2019, the world's silver to gold production will fall 7.6 to 1. Thus, the world is producing a hell of a lot less silver compared to gold than it did in the 18th and 19th centuries. The next chart shows the world's silver to gold production ratio from 2010 to 2019. This is telling. So from 2010 it was 8.6, and it's less now, 7.6 to 1. Once global silver production peaked in 2015 and declined as the gold mine supply continued to increase, the ratio fell from 8.3 to 1 to 7.6 to 1 in 2019. It's excellent news for silver investors, whether they realize it or not, although that may not necessarily be the case. Furthermore, a large percentage of this global silver mine supply that made its way into the market is gone forever. And I disagree with that too. Let me go back to the previous couple of sentences here. It says this is excellent news for silver investors, whether they realize it or not. The mining ratio and energy used to mining it, I will restate, does not necessarily correlate with prices. And by the way, prices don't always necessarily correlate with value. There is some correlation, and just like there is with fuel, but it does not necessarily mean it's going to go in that direction. I mean, look up platinum. Platinum is much more rare than gold, up to 15 times rarer than gold. And, it is much harder to mine. It takes a lot more fuel to do it. And its demand and the like, it is not reflecting its rarity and its fuel to process it. But I digress. So the large supply that is made into the market is gone forever. Silver doesn't ever disappear, really. It gets reconstituted, it gets dispersed, it gets broken down. But like gold, it can be reconstituted, it can be recycled. The price gets high enough, it will. And he says here, he kind of backpedals a bit and says it's less likely to find its way back in the market. And that's true. To a point, 2 reasons. Only 20% of industrial silver consumption is recycled back in the market, and only 9 to 10% of silver jewelry. That is for now, because it's cost prohibitive. If the price goes up appreciably enough, they will find a way. They already kind of know how to do so now. 90% of gold recycling comes from gold jewelry. That's true, and it is very much worth it because gold is much more demand, is higher priced. The next chart shows the global non-investment silver demand, including silverware. As we can see, the 7,683 million ounces, or 7.7 billion ounces of non-investment silver demand from 2010 to 2019. Only 1.8 billion ounces were recycled. Thus, approximately 5.8 billion ounces of the non-investment demand over the past decade is likely lost for good. Yeah, that's a strong statement. It's lost for now is what I would put there, but not for good. Of course, we could see more recycling of the past industrial jewelry consumption, but probably only a small percentage. So again, it says likely lost for good, so he kind of covers himself there because he understands. At least he's being somewhat honest there, and he's showing. And I do like how they present data here in these charts. So they're countering it there, but it is relatively bullish on this. I wouldn't get too excited about it, though. When countries removed silver from the currency, it was recycled and fed back into markets to fill the insatiable industrial demand that took off during World War II. The world basically ate its seed corn of monetary silver so we could have more fancy gadgets and technology. That's true. It's pretty amazing. In fact, the Manhattan Project alone utilized a lot of silver, indeed. So this last chart shows how little above-ground silver investment stocks are remaining compared to the massive 51.5 billion ounces mined since 1493. According to the 2019 World Silver Survey and World Gold Council, there's approximately 2.5 billion ounces of above-ground investment silver stocks versus 2.4 billion ounces of gold. Yeah, it's a tiny market. People aren't as interested in it. Look at that. It is quite a different why. Gold is hoarded, and there's good reason. You can pick a lot of value in a smaller space. Silver, you don't have that much investment stocks out there. But you and I, we want to get some. It's easily available. We can go on to any major bullion dealer and pick us up any amount we want to. We can do the same thing for gold, but we pay a lot more for it. So it is telling, which means that it's a tiny market, and they're right, which means that, if there's any interest in silver, especially if gold goes up, I do believe that ratio between gold and silver, the price ratio, will narrow and squeeze, and it could happen dramatically. This chart should help precious metal investors understand why silver will outperform gold in the future. No, it actually doesn't. But I'll go ahead and move on. He says there's just as much more above-ground investment silver stocks. There just isn't as much more above-ground silver stocks in the world as there are gold stocks. Moreover, 41% of the known total world cumulative gold production from 1493 to 2019 is held in above-ground investment gold stocks, compared to only 5% for silver. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hi, am I still with Jim?
Yes, this is Jim, and we were discussing some things about the business here for a loan, so I'm glad you called at this hour here. We need to try to find a way to squeeze a little bit more silver into the investment world, and we need money to do that. Can you make that happen for us?
Yes, we can, as long as you're qualified. How much are you looking for?
As long as I'm what?
Hello?
Yes, as long as I'm what? I didn't hear what you said there.
As long as you're qualified.
Oh, we're qualified.
We can make that possible.
Yeah. I think we'll be pretty qualified here. So we need to get this to happen because, the world burned through silver like mad to supply our enormous industrial needs, but also to provide the market with a great deal of inexpensive silver jewelry. What do you think about that?
Mm-hmm. That's great. That sounds very good. So how much are you looking for?
In order to make this thing happen, we're probably going to need close to about $500,000. And I believe I'll be qualified for that amount because, unfortunately, most silver jewelry won't be recycled, even at a $100 silver price. If a ring contains 10 grams of silver, that's only $30 worth of silver. But I think that if it even goes up to $100 silver, I think it will be recycled. And it's even being recycled now, I believe. My local coin shop, for instance, is buying silver jewelry and is sending it out to be melted down. It's happening now at $15 silver. So, what do you think?
Okay, so what's your monthly deposit?
Monthly deposit, we're doing about $193,000 a month on average. There's some months where it's a bit more than that and other months where it's not. But see, silver investors have been given a huge gift that most don't realize. Because the world consumed tens of billions of ounces of silver for industrial and jewelry fabrication, most of this will never come back in the market. But it's coming back in the market right now. That's why we need money from your company.
Yes, I do understand, Jim. But here at GNC Capital, we customize loans to fit all our merchants since each merchant is different. And since the underwriter is right next door, we can be able to provide you with numbers within 24 to 72 hours. How does that sound to you?
Oh, that sounds great because when push comes to shove, investors looking to protect wealth won't find that much silver available to acquire. We want to buy more of it at much higher prices.
Great. So So here's what you're going to do for me, Jim. Can you please provide me with your email address so that I can have this application sent over to you? And when you're finished filling out the application, you provide to me or attach your last 4 to 6 month bank statement, business bank statement with that, and we will work from there. The application does not take long. It might take about 10 minutes for you to fill out. Can you please provide me with your email address?
Oh, sure. Yeah, because gold is still an excellent precious metal as its own, but it will not fix our broken monetary fiat system. The thermodynamics of oil depletion is destroying our fiat monetary system, while there isn't anything that governments, corporations, or individuals can do about it. So my email address is protectyourwealth2000 at yearhistory.com. That's protectyourwealth2000 at yearhistory.com. Are you still there? Are you still with me?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, did you get that email address? It's protectyourwealth2000 at yearhistory.com.
So that is YEAR history.com?
Yeah, YEAR history, that's HISTORY.com. So that's protectyourwealth2000 at yearhistory.com. Yes, ma'am.
Great. So, Jim, I'm about to send over the application right now to you. Can you please hold on the line to let me make sure that you receive this application?
I don't have the internet in front of me, so I'm not able to actually check the email now, but you go ahead and send it. I will gladly take it. But I want to ask you a question here about what do you think? Do you think that it's a huge jump to say that silver is just going to jump up in price because the market's that much smaller and because of how energy is tied to it to produce it? Do you think they made a good argument there with that? You didn't hear the first part of this, but I want to get your take on it anyway.
I think it's a great idea.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. You've convinced me. You've further solidified my faith in doing business with your company because of your reasoned and educated guess about energy and silver supply and how it could increase over gold. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, Marilyn. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, Jacqueline, and I will talk to you later, okay? Okay? This is a delay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, yes. Did you hear what I just said? I said, thank you, Patty. I appreciate you talking to me, Jenny, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too, sir. And when can I expect a reply?
As soon as I get to a computer, I will check the email and reply to it there, okay?
So will that be tonight, or?
It will be within the next 24 hours, I suspect, yes. I need to get to a computer. Yes, indeed. SR Rocco, SRS Rocco Report, signing out. Thank you. Thank you, Patty. Thanks, Pamela. Okay. Have a nice evening.
You too, sir.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye-bye, Jill. See you later, Sally. Oh, she hung up. All right. I'm heading out of here, too. What do you think? Multitude of gratitude, y'all, for watching. I'm going to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.